Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 91 of the Culture Bucket podcast. This is the greatest podcast in the universe where two best friends talk all things popular culture. It's great. We do our culture catch-up where we talk about things that we've watched recently and then we pick special things to discuss, etc, etc. It's great. I'm George and your other host is Alex. Hi Alex.
Hi George.
Hi. This week...
Hi everyone. I forgot about everyone. Hi everyone.
They all appreciate your thinking.
My love, my 2023 love.
So, in line with this being the year of love, please love us by going to the social media places and everywhere else and following us, interacting with us and rating us and reviewing us, please, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and anywhere else you can. And you have got an even more exciting way to support us if you'd like to. In the form of coffees. Find us by searching Culture Bucket Podcast and looking at all there's links in the show notes as well, and go and follow the links to Linktree to then follow the link to buymeacoffee.com, and you could buy us a coffee and it would help to rather than buying coffee we'd probably spend the money on the hosting costs of the podcast, etc. Yes. This week we are, as I explained last week, if you listened, we are going to jump straight into it this week because Culture Catch-Up was last week, so this week we are going straight into our discussion, Culture Bucket of our lives, and we're going to be naming our favourite pieces of pop culture from each year that we have been alive. Exciting stuff. Alex, you are ever so slightly older than me.
Yes.
So... what year are we beginning on?
1985.
1985, oh my god, what a year. Incredible.
What a year.
The
films were much easier than the music for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. But 1985, good year. You know, you have Back to the Future, Goonies, Room with a View, A Chorus Line, Lady Hawk, Breakfast Club.
Oh, God.
St. Thomas Fire. That was a very good film. Why did you draw your eyes at Lady Hawk? That's like my childhood.
I don't know what that is. I didn't.
You don't know Lady Hawk?
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh, let me explain to you Lady Hawk. My childhood, very quickly. It stars Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Rutger Hauer.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Matthew Broderick meets Michelle Pfeiffer. And he kind of like goes, blah, blah, blah. But I think it was a cardinal was in love with Michelle Pfeiffer, and Rutger Hauer was in love with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Is he the cardinal?
So they put a spell on them that Michelle Pfeiffer during the day is a hawk. Yeah, and Rutger Hauer is a guy, and then at nighttime Michelle Pfeiffer becomes a person and Rutger Hauer becomes a wolf, and so they can never meet.
This seems unworkable. How does she get anything done?
But you don't have to think about that. You just have to think about the love story.
Yeah, but if you're a hawk during the day,
yeah,
and then at nighttime,
yeah, but the point of the film is that they have to break this spell.
What if she's flying in the air?
It doesn't matter. Just watch this film. Lady Hawk is incredible.
Suddenly become a woman and crash to the ground.
Shut up. It's a great film.
Sounds mad. What was your favourite film of 1985?
I think my favourite film of 1985, you're going to roll your eyes, and who cares? The Goonies.
Okay. I mean, I don't like the Goonies, but it's fine. Why the Goonies?
Because it's just another film about my childhood. It's an adventure. It's fun. There's lots of things happening. There's a treasure at the end. There's a little... It's just lovely. I just love this film.
No one turns into a hawk.
Nobody turns into a hawk.
or a wolf.
Yeah. Although I love Back to the Future, great film. I think The Goonies
I'd probably
is.
go with Back to the Future, but I'm not allowed to have an opinion
No.
because I'm not alive yet. What about music?
Music. So, music. We have songs from The Big Chair, Tears for Fears, great album. We have Whitney Houston's first album called Whitney Houston, really great album. And The Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. Yeah. I used to listen to Dire Straits because I think my uncle really liked them, and I listened.
Does that album have money for enough and the chicks for free? I don't want my microwave oven. I don't want my
maybe.
MTV.
I guess so. But I think of these choices, I think probably is songs from The Big Chair, Tears for Fears.
Songs from The Big Chairs, but what's the big song off that?
Is it Shout?
Shout. Let
Shout
it all out. These are the things that I can do without. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you talking to me? Do you know,
yeah.
that's got a link with your favourite guy in the world? That song.
Has it?
Yep. Hang on. Hang the heck on.
Why we got?
Because it's your guy.
Oh, so there's Mike. What's his name? James Corden and Dizzy Rascal watching a match, but this doesn't sound like Tears for Fears.
Oh, just you wait.
Was this a song for?
It was a song for the World Cup.
Which year?
I don't know.
Because like James Corden is young and
Dizzy
Rascal is there, and I haven't seen Dizzy Rascal in a long time. No, just stop.
I thought you loved him and everything he did.
Stop. I don't. Shut up. I don't love everything they did. I just like to give people a chance. Will you stop this abomination? Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Whatever.
What about 1986?
1986. What year were you born, George?
88.
Okay, so we got another 2 years of my wonderful list. So 1986, incredible films like Platoon, Stand By Me.
Wow.
Ferris Bueller Day Off.
Phyllis who?
Ferris Bueller Day Off. Ferris Bueller. Shut up. Ferris Bueller Day Off.
Phyllis Banana's Big Day Out in the City.
Top Gun. What a film.
You haven't... okay. Have you seen Top Gun?
Yeah, the first one, not the 2022 one.
Not the good one.
The Karate Kid, which you hate, because I love.
Big fan of it.
The Name of the Rose.
Sean Connery?
From a book, Umberto Eco's book. This was a great year for films. Highlander. You know Highlander?
Yeah, there can only be one.
There can only be one. I think
there can only be one bad film about Highlanders released in 1986.
I think that was a good film. Still, I think I'm gonna go for probably The Karate Kid.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that film.
Are you not even going to mention Labyrinth?
Was that 1986?
Yep.
No, I'm not going to mention Labyrinth.
Wow.
Stop showing me videos now that I taught you this new technique.
I'm not showing you videos.
Okay.
Just double checking that Labyrinth came out in 1986. It did, yeah.
It did. I watched Labyrinth. I watched half of Labyrinth on a school trip to Berlin on a bus. So I've only watched a little bit of Labyrinth. I should watch more.
Yeah, you should, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah. So I love The Karate Kid. I think it's a great film.
Okay. Okay.
And music. This was difficult, 1986 for me. Queen, A Kind of Magic. But I think the winner, although I love Queen, but this album is legendary, is Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet.
Slippery When Wet.
Legendary album.
The bin bags, they are slippery when wet, aren't they?
Yeah.
Fall out your hands.
Yeah.
That's what they mean, isn't it? That's what they're talking about.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is an iconic album. It's got
album.
save me a prayer. What's that song called?
Living on a prayer.
Prayer.
Take my hand. I'll take
Wow,
you.
wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
song. Good pick.
Thank you.
Slippery When Wet. It is better than A Kind of Magic by Queen.
Yeah.
All right, 1987.
1987, a year before you were born.
I know.
Great films came out then. Moonstruck. Love it.
Good film.
The Princess Bride.
Ooh.
The film that I think, did you watch it? Did I make you watch it? Inner Space.
Okay, yeah, with Dennis Quaid and Martin Short. That's a good film.
Yeah. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing. Lethal Weapon, which I think is a great film. I think I might have to be boring here.
Go on.
Moonstruck.
Yeah, I knew it'd be Moonstruck.
I love that film.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a very good film.
Snap out of it.
Make me a steak. Yeah.
And he cuts it. Oh, it's beautiful. Fantastic movie.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
And music, the only one that I could actually remember the songs and I really like is, I'm not proud of it, but they used to be good. U2, The Joshua Tree.
You know what? That's a great album.
That's a great
album. No
album.
one's going to argue with on that.
No,
The Joshua Tree is
really
an absolute stunner of an album.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, and that's my 1987 pick a league.
I like it. Good picks. Right, let's move into a year that actually matters.
Yes.
The year of me.
Okay.
My arrival on the scene.
Yes.
Do you want me to go now, or do you want to still start? Or what?
No, you should go. It's your turn to start. So.
Right. So this year, I've only got a small list of films from this year that stood out to me. They Live, John Carpenter's iconic I'm only here to chew bubblegum and kick ass and I'm all out of bubblegum movie. Iconic line. That's a great line.
Yeah.
Good film. Die Hard.
Die Hard, yeah.
Destroyed all of us with Alan Rickman and his incredible performance, along with launching Bruce Willis into superstardom. But I've picked what I think might be the same one you've picked for my favourite film of 1988, a little movie out of Japan called My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you've gone with as well?
It was between that and Graves of the Fireflies.
The
thing is, Graves of the Fireflies, I watched it once and it broke me and never watched it again. Yeah. And it's an incredible film.
Yeah.
But My Neighbor Totoro, I think I watched it like 600 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it has to be that one.
I've never seen Grave of the Fireflies. But My Neighbor Totoro is a stunning piece of work. Maybe the greatest animated movie of all time. Yeah. Certainly up there as one of the greatest hand-drawn animations of all time. Masterpiece. Yeah. Well done, Mr. Music. Yeah. Did you have any other movies in the running?
A Fish Called Wanda.
Ah, yes. Good film.
Incredible film. Came out in 1988. The animation Akira.
Oh.
Beauty.
Love it.
Working Girl.
Don't know what that is.
It's a great film with Sigourney Weaver, Harrison Ford, and Melanie Griffith. Just classic 80s film. If you fancy watching something about a career person and like lots of shoulder pads and Sigourney Weaver being in an office.
That's the one. And musically, I've picked out a few albums here. The Pixies released Surfer Rosa in 1988. Iron Maiden put out Seventh Son of a Seventh Son that year, featuring maybe my favourite Iron Maiden song, Can I Play With Madness?
Ah, yes.
The Travelling Wilburys put out Travelling Wilburys Volume 1, and if you're listening and you don't know who that is a supergroup consisting of Jeff Lynne from Electric Light Orchestra, George Harrison from the Beatles, Roy Orbison off of being Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan off of being Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty off of being Tom Petty. All of those creative forces came together to release an album in 1988, and it's pretty freaking good.
Nice.
But I've gone with the classic And Justice for All by the great Metallica.
Nice.
As being my favourite album of the year that I entered physically into the world.
Nice.
What about you?
Tracy Chapman.
Never heard of it.
You never heard of Tracy Chapman?
No.
Oh, true. No. Wait. It's very interesting. It's really good album. Tracy Chapman is amazing. If you never heard of her or listened to her album, listen, because she's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough.
I think it's her first album. Yeah.
Yeah, fair play. Did any other music speak to you that year, or
no? For the next couple of years, it's gonna be really zero for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And then in terms of video games, I'm going to start throwing video games in. The most notable video game released in '88 for me was Super Mario Brothers 3, which introduced, I believe, the magic flute. Let you skip levels and things, and maybe the shoe that you could jump about in. Anyway, Super Mario Bros. 3 is a great game. The Tanuki suit was introduced in that. Turned into a big raccoon and fly around. Good game. 1989. 1989. Some great movies released in 1989. Batman came out in 1989.
Yes.
Honey, I Shrunk the Bloody Kids.
Oh, that film is incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's so good. Indiana Jones and Look, My Dad's James Bond came out in 1989.
Yes.
Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee's fearsomely intense rhetoric on race relations in America, which is still relevant today and is a masterpiece, came out in 1989. But I'm being really boring and sort of picking the same thing that I picked for 1988, and I'm going with Kiki's Delivery Service as my favourite.
Oh.
Because it's my favourite Ghibli, so it's got to be my favourite movie of that year.
Yeah.
I freaking love Kiki's Delivery Service. I think it's a beautiful little thing, and it makes me sad and happy, and I feel every emotion that exists. So yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service. What about you? Any other movies to mention?
Any other movies? All Dogs Go to Heaven, an animation, came out that year.
Good film.
So good, so sad, so traumatizing.
Yep.
And The Little Mermaid came out that year.
Was
Disney
it that? Wow, I thought that was the 90s. Wow.
Yeah. So The Little Mermaid, and this film with I just this is kind of nostalgia pick, but it's a film with Tom Hanks, and he has a dog.
Not
and
Turner
he's
and Hooch.
Yeah,
oh my
but it's just like I just have to mention it because it's just a nostalgia pick. I watched that film so many times when I was a kid. But I think I have to go for I don't know. It's a big toss up between Honey I Shrunk the Kids and Indiana Jones.
Oh, it's a tough one.
Because Honey I Shrunk the Kids was such an original idea of. It was just so much fun, so I'm going to go for Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
I think that's a powerful pick, and I agree with you. It's a great movie,
so good
and underrated. I think people should go and watch it again.
Yeah, definitely.
The Ants and Rick Moranis. Can you get any better than that? You can't.
Yeah, so good.
Musically, there was some pretty notable stuff this year. We had the Pixies put out Doolittle. Pixies again being a big force in music that year. The Stone Roses released their iconic debut album, The Stone Roses. Faith No More put out their first album with Mike Patton on lead vocals, The Real Thing. Neil Young released Freedom, which is a really good Neil Young album. Out of his 500 albums he's released. Pretty Hate Machine, the debut album from Nine Inch Nails, launched in 1989. But I've gone with the album that launched the world of music sampling, and also sort of was a bit of a step back in some ways commercially for this band, but is now recognised as sort of their creative peak. Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys.
Oh.
A masterpiece of an album. All
I
constructed.
didn't realise that came out
samples.
in 1989.
Yeah, man.
I agree with you because I have nothing for 1989.
There's really nothing.
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 No, I didn't. Yeah.
Not even Paul's Boutique by Beastie Boys.
No, now I have it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's good. And then video game wise, Mario continues to rule the roost because Super Mario Land came out in 1989. That being the Game Boy version of Super Mario, and it's pretty bloody good. Super Mario Land, if you haven't played it, there's swimming levels and stuff in that game. Cool. Let's move into the 90s where we got all Colours and Saved by the Bell, etc.
Yeah.
So movie-wise, in 1990, there's some pretty good stuff. Tremors with Kevin Bacon was released this year, continuing the reign of Kevin Bacon as the world's greatest living man. Jacob's Ladder launched 1,000 ideas for different psychological horror things, and the world of video games would never be the same once people got hold of Jacob's Ladder. Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger goes to Mars and fights a lady with 3 breasts.
Oh, that film is so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
But did it come out in 1990?
According to my research, keep making me doubt myself.
No. It's just because I don't have it. What's it called? Total Recall.
Total Recall. It came out in 1990.
Amazing. So Arnold Schwarzenegger released 2 films, Kindergarten Cop and Total Recall.
That's pretty impressive for 1 year, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. I mean, he was in charge of the world at that point.
Yeah.
So Kindergarten Cop was like early that year, 1st of February, it looks like, and then Total Recall was July.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done. Good work. Yeah. All right. So I didn't have that on my list, but yeah. Thingy. What you just said. Kindergarten Cop. Amazing. Misery, one of the best Stephen King adaptations of all time, came out in 1990. Kathy Bates and James Caan.
That film is so good.
Destroying the screen. But my favourite movie of 1990 is the third film in an iconic horror franchise, The Exorcist 3.
Oh.
Which, if you haven't seen it because you assume that all the sequels to The Exorcist are rubbish, you're almost correct. But The Exorcist 3 is a goddamn piece of masterpiece with some of the greatest scares in all of cinema contained in that film. And like written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote the original Exorcist novel. Very cool that he directed that film. Anyway, I love The Exorcist 3. What about you, movie-wise, for 1990?
Yeah, Misery and Total Recall, which I didn't have on my list because for some reason they were not in my letterbox, because I'm going to write them down now. A film that I made you watch, and it's aged like milk, but I love this film.
Oh, is this the one with Big Moustache Man?
Yeah, Carabiner Quigley with Tom Selleck.
Do you mean Quigley Down Under if we're speaking English?
Yeah, sorry, Quigley Down Under, because in Italian we call him Carabiner Quigley. Carabiner Quigley.
I love it, that's great.
And Edward Scissorhands, I love that film. But I think probably from this year it will have to be Home Alone.
Oh, yeah, I should. Why isn't that on my list? Yeah, Home Alone. Amazing film.
Great film. So good.
One of the best scores of all time as well. John Williams' score for that film is iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. In terms of music from that year, there's not lots and lots. I've got the Pills and Fills and Bellyaches album by Happy Mondays, which is a pretty great album. Got Ragged Glory by Neil Young. But I've gone with an album by Angelo Badalamenti.
Oh.
The soundtrack from Twin Peaks, which is a CD that I played a lot more than you'd expect from a soundtrack album. I think it's brilliant. I love the soundtrack to Twin Peaks, and I couldn't quite put Twin Peaks on here because we're not doing TV because it gets too complicated. So take it. The soundtrack from Twin Peaks is my favourite album of that year, 1990. What about you?
I don't have anything.
Really?
No, seriously, yeah.
Fine, that's fine. It wasn't a great year for music.
No, I've got a couple of years, 1989, 1990, where I have blank space, and then the rest is...
Kicks back in a bit.
Yeah.
That's fine. And video game wise, Mario continues to be the only name in town with the release of Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is the one where you could ride Yoshi, and it changed everything in a way. Bloody great, Super Mario World. Really good game. Okay, let's go into 1991, and now we're getting into some heavy-hitting stuff. We've got...
Yes.
This is a year. We've got Reservoir Dogs coming out in 1991. Yeah. We've got Hook coming out in 1991. We've got Point Break.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves, Johnny Utah, FBI agent. Incredible. Cape Fear, Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear remake with De Niro.
Yeah.
The Addams Family.
The Addams Family.
Oh my God. Terminator 2, It's Time to Terminate. That came out in 1991. And that was my number one, and there was a very tough choice between Terminator 2 Judgment Day and my actual pick, The Silence of the Lambs.
Great film.
It's a masterpiece. It's hard to, I love Terminator 2 and I wanted to put it, but then I thought about it and I was like, I can't deny the majesty of The Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. It is good. You know, you made me watch it, and you know,
It's a good film, right?
it's a good film.
Yeah. I like it when Migs throws that stuff at. No, I don't like that bit. It's horrible. What do you think of movies?
Yes, you've said a few like Adam's Family, Point Break. Thelma and Louise came out that year. Great film.
I've still never seen.
Oh, it's such a good film.
I know.
Brad Pitt at his prime. Delicatessen, a French film from the same director as Amélie. Really good film. Beauty and the Beast came out that year, and I love that cartoon. And my favorite film from 1990. Where are we? From 1991 is this film directed by Alan Parker, The Commitments.
I've never seen.
Great film. Great music, like kind of blues and soul and funk, and it's a great film.
Good. Musically, 1991 had a few things worth noting. REM released Out of Time that year, which contains Losing My Religion on it. Amazing album. Metallica's Black Album came out that year. Incredible stuff. Mr. Bungle, the side project of Faith No More's Mike Patton, released their debut album that year. Guns N' Roses put out the iconic double album, although not a double album because they made you buy two different albums rather than releasing it as a double album. But Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2 came out that year. The Red Hot Chili Peppers released Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And Nirvana put out Nevermind, which is, a towering achievement. Iconic. That's a crazy, insane year for music, 1981. So considering last one, I was like, Neil Young did something, and there was a soundtrack. Like 1991 blows it away. For me, I've gone with the debut album from one of my favourite bands I've talked about a lot on this podcast, 10, the debut by Pearl Jam.
Oh, nice.
And it was a tight run thing because, you could easily go with Blood Sugar, easily go with Nevermind, easily go with Use Your Illusion, easily go with Metallica, like they were all like 5 out of 5s. But 10 by Pearl Jam. What about you?
I think mine is going to be Blood Sugar Sex Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's fair.
That's a good album.
Yeah,
that's a great album.
Were there any other albums that you had on your list that I haven't mentioned?
No, I had Nevermind by Nirvana and Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
That's fair. I mean, Nevermind's amazing, but it's one of those things that's become unmoored from the year in which it was released and is now just its own thing. That if you look at it straight on, you can't. It turns you to stone. Anyway, video game wise, Mario has stepped back from him, but Nintendo are still in town with The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Zelda game, top-down perspective. You go into a dark world and fight Ganon, and it's bloody great, and I played a lot of it when I was a kid, so that's good stuff. 1992 then. Some big films. Francis Ford Coppola put out his Dracula film this year. Candyman terrified everyone. Death Becomes Her. Advanced special effects in lots of ways, and it's an amazing piece of work from Robert Zemeckis. Unfairly sort of forgotten a little bit, I think, nowadays. Batman Returned in 1992. Ghostwatch. The BBC fooled everyone with what they thought was a live documentary thing, and turned out to be a pre-recorded horror film starring Michael Parkinson of all people. Ghostwatch is incredible. If you haven't seen it, everyone should watch it. My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci's incredible masterpiece. Marissa Tomei's Oscar-winning performance in that is so good. Muppet Christmas Carol is one of the all-time great holiday films. But for me, the best movie released in 1992 is David Lynch's Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me.
Of course.
My good God, I love that film. What about you, movie-wise?
In 1992, Porco Rosso came out, a Ghibli film.
The most boring Ghibli film I've seen.
Oh, I love Porco Rosso.
Couldn't get into it.
Oh, Fern Gully, incredible animation. Do you not like it?
It's a silly film, isn't it? Really.
Oh, but I don't know. Malcolm X with Denzel Washington. Sister Act.
Good
blew
film.
my mind that year. Wayne's World, really like it, still like it. A League of Their Own, really great film, but I think my favourite is Dracula.
Yeah, that's fair. You've talked before about how much you love that movie.
I love
and it is
that
a great
movie.
film, and it feels unlike any other movie. Like, it's so unique in its own world. Fair play. I like it.
Yeah. Aladdin came out that year as well.
Aladdin. That's a good film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of music, some fairly big releases that year in 1992. I've got down here Rage Against the Machine put out their first album in 1992.
Yeah.
Proving once and for all that it was possible to do rap and guitar at the same time. REM put out Automatic for the People, somehow being even better than Out of Time. Automatic for the People is an amazing album. Beastie Boys came out of Check Your Head, which has got some of their biggest bangers on it and is great. Manic Street Preachers hit the scene with their debut Generation Terrorists, where they fearsomely announced that they wanted to be bigger than Guns N' Roses. And don't know if they ever quite got there, but they have become iconic in their own right. But I've gone with the second Mike Patton fronted album from Faith No More, Angel Dust. The Real Thing from a couple of years earlier was the first one where he was did vocals, but Angel Dust was the first one where he contributed creatively, and you can tell because the experimentation is increased significantly, and it's a more interesting album, and is also around where they did their iconic cover of Easy by the Commodores. And yes, big fan of that album. I love it a lot. How about you, musically, for 1992?
I have one album, the debut album by Rage Against the Machine.
Fair play. It's a good album.
So good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Video game wise, in 1992, Sega did.
Sega.
Yeah, and Sega came along and did what Nintendo don't, and released Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
No.
What?
I only played Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog 1's a good game, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a better game. Because you could play as Tails as well, collect all the Chaos Emeralds and turn into a Super Sonic. So, it's a great game. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is amazing, and I played probably hundreds of hours of it when I was a little boy. So, yeah, I love it. I would have been 4 years old. I'm sure I remember Sonic the Hedgehog 2 coming out. Can't possibly. Anyway, we go to 1993.
Oh, this is a hard year. This is a really hard year.
In some ways, for me, it was an easy year because there's a lot of good films, but also
but then there's your favourite film.
My favourite film of all time came out, so I can't pick anything else.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I've written down here as notable ones Addams Family Values, obviously.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
The Fugitive, one of the most satisfying action thrillers to watch ever.
Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Oh, Demolition Man is an
1983.
incredible film.
Yep. Falling Down, the Michael Douglas Joel Schumacher film. Where he goes mad in a traffic jam and then just attacks people all day.
Yeah.
Amazing, like weird, slightly right wing film. Last Action Hero marked the end of Arnold Schwarzenegger's reign of the box office, really, but I have a soft spot for that film. But obviously, it's impossible to have anything come out in a year that's better than the best film of all time, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg's masterpiece. Although all the buses around here at the moment are calling The Fabelman Steven Spielberg's masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realised the Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, which are both being directed by Steven Spielberg, came out the same year.
Yeah, they did.
Insane.
I can't remember which one he filmed. I think he filmed Jurassic Park first. So I think there's a story about how he'd shoot Schindler's List during the day, and then at night time he would edit Jurassic Park, and it would almost like be his way of like getting away from the sort of horrors of Schindler's List for a little bit. I think that's right. Madness, mad that he put out like two films that are so different in the same year. And yeah, I should have mentioned Schindler's List. Really, it is obviously a masterpiece, but I'll always view it as being almost more than a film. And to list it in any way seems oddly disrespectful. I don't know. But
I just realised they came out both in the same year, which is insane because they're, they're two worlds apart. And,
this is why he's got a movie about his childhood right now, because like nobody else has had the career that he's had. It is mad. His ability to make almost any film. But what's your favourite film of 1993?
So the ones you haven't mentioned in 1993, we have the film Philadelphia, great film. I watched it when I was too young, but to understand it fully. But then I watched it as an adult and it's amazing. I don't know how well it aged, but I really enjoyed this film, Cool Runnings, about a Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Good film.
The Piano. is a Jane Campion movie. And Harvey Keitel, there's a full frontal scene of Harvey Keitel naked, and that was the first fully naked man I'd ever seen, and I think I was young, and I was like, but it's such an incredible movie. Yeah, it's such an amazing movie. And Groundhog Day, really like that film. It's really hard this year because I think there's such good films in this year. But one that I really enjoyed, and I think it was one of a kind at the time, and then they tried to make more, but is the film Sleepless in Seattle with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Yes.
It kind of started that kind of like love thing, and I think it was kind of unique for its time, and I'm one of the first, so I think I'm gonna go for Sleepless in Seattle.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, it's a love story. It's fun.
No dinosaurs in it though.
No.
Okay. Some big music came out in 1993. We've got Pearl Jam with their second album, VS, Versus. Nirvana put out their next album, In Utero. Argued by some to be better than Nevermind. Siamese Dream, the Smashing Pumpkins released Siamese Dream, which is a great album in 93. Bjork put out Debut, her sort of debut studio album, 93. So good. Tool put out Undertow, their sort of debut album, amazing album. Radiohead put out their debut album, Pablo Honey, that year, which is, sort of doesn't hold up to the stuff what they'd go on to do later, but is an amazing debut.
Yeah.
But I've gone with a sort of recent discovery for me, the second album by singer-songwriter PJ Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
Rid of Me. She's someone I've been getting into recently, and this album is really, really good and a lot different to what I expected from PJ Harvey. Polly Jean Harvey. So yeah, Rid of Me. If anyone's not listened to it, it's pretty great, especially the song Rub It Till It Bleeds, and I'll let you decide what that's about.
We're having some interesting titles here today, aren't we? Well,
what have you gone with musically?
Pablo Honey, Radiohead, and then just let me find, because I didn't write. I'm getting mind. Pablo Honey, Radiohead, really good album. Cypress Hill, Black Sunday. It was my first. It's just a good album. It's just a little bit different and fun. But my favorite album is Debut by Bjork.
Fair enough. It's an amazing album. Very, very good. Yeah. And video game wise, this year, the most notable release, in my opinion, is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the Game Boy Zelda adventure, which was recently remade for the Nintendo Switch and is a blast. I'd recommend it to anyone. Moving into 1994.
That's another good year.
It is a good year. Film wise, I've got a few down here. Speed.
Yes.
Can you exactly?
Can you?
Can you let me bloody finish this list, please?
Shut up.
The Mask.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Of course.
True Lies. Schwarzenegger and James Cameron.
I love that film.
Producing more magic. The Shawshank Redemption.
Great
huge movie. And Leon the Professional. The assassin hitman thing with Jean Reno and Gary Oldman. Very good film. But I've gone with a slightly lesser known pick for this year, a John Carpenter movie, In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh.
Yeah, the third film in his Apocalypse trilogy of films that started with The Thing and then Prince of Darkness, now In the Mouth of Madness. This is kind of the one that's least well known in a lot of ways, certainly least available, but stars Sam Neill as a man who is trying to track down a missing author and goes sort of insane in the pursuit of it as various Lovecraftian forces come into play. It's amazing. I love In the Mouth of Madness. It's the greatest Lovecraft adaptation that's not specifically based on any work by Lovecraft. And big fan of it. What's about you for 1994? Same probably, right? Same film as me, I reckon.
Very similar. But interesting, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger did again Junior and True Lies in the same year. Junior is like a pregnant man.
Yeah.
And True Lies is like an incredible action film.
Yeah.
He does like interesting
he was just doing it all, wasn't he? He could do comedy,
Yeah.
he could do action, he could do
Everything.
not so much drama, but
Yeah. But what you haven't mentioned the River Wild, George.
Oh,
Not for
yeah.
me, for you.
Oh
because
yeah, I didn't. Sorry, not mention The River Wild. Great film, love it. Obviously, apologies.
Okay, so in 1994, the Hatsucker Proxy, Joel Cohen's film. Stargate, I really liked that film. I didn't like the series, but I really liked the film.
That's fine.
Weirdly. And The Lion King came out that year.
The Lion King.
Yes, and Forrest Gump. Muriel's Wedding. I made you watch it.
Yeah, that's a good film. Yeah,
Yes.
Good film.
But my favorite from 1994 is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Best film ever.
It's pretty good. It's up there for sure.
Yes.
Very good film.
Yes.
Musically, again, there was quite a few notable releases in 1994. We had Vitalogy, the third album from Pearl Jam. Obviously very good. Neil Young put out an album called Sleeps with Angels in 94, which was kind of his approach to the grunge explosion. And that's a really, if you haven't heard it, Sleeps with Angels by Neil Young is worth going and having a listen to. Ill Communication from the Beastie Boys was that year. Weezer hit with the Blue Album. Obviously an amazing debut. 9 Inch Nails came back from their debut for their second album, The Downward Spiral. Probably their most iconic release. Beck's debut was released this year, Mellow Gold, featuring the song Loser, which became like his anthem. And Green Day hit with Dookie, again, one of the most iconic albums of all time. I've gone with the third album from the Manic Street Preachers, The Holy Bible, is my favourite album of that year, and one of my favourite albums of all time, as I've discussed in the past. But it was a tough pick, because obviously the Blue Album is up there as well. What did you go with musically for 1994?
I have Crazy Sexy Cool by TLC.
Of course.
But I think was the year that I got introduced to this band, and this album is right in my heart, and is Korn by Korn.
Korn by Korn.
Yes.
I like it. Good pick. Video game wise for 1994, this was the year that Super Metroid was released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and players could join Samus Aran on a dangerous mission to explore the planet Zebes and defeat the space pirates. An incredible game, and launched like a whole genre of kind of exploration type games called Metroidvanias, alongside Castlevania. Good stuff. All right, into 1995, the last year we're going to feature today.
Yes.
Some big films this year.
Two big films from with one person that's horrendous.
Oh, you'll have to tell me what that is.
Okay.
I might have got one of the two here. I don't know if you mean the same person, but possibly the biggest film of 1995 was, of course, Kevin Costner's Waterworld, which we all loved.
Yeah.
Continue to love. James Bond returned after a little absence with GoldenEye 007.
Awesome.
Yeah. David Fincher brought out another movie with the word 7 in the title, Seven.
Yeah.
And Toy Story, the first fully computer-generated animated movie, was released in 1995, and I remember going to see that in the cinema. Beautiful stuff.
So good.
But my favourite that I've picked is a film I didn't see in the cinema because I was too young. Michael Mann's Heat.
Oh.
Yeah, featuring Al Pacino and De Niro together at last in one iconic scene in a diner. Yeah, Heat's an amazing movie. Big epic crime film. Loads of films have come along since and tried to do Heat again and failed. And last year he actually released a big novel called Heat 2, a sequel to Heat that's meant to be really good. I didn't read it. I should read it. What were the two movies you said by the terrible person?
Seven and The Usual Suspects.
Oh, because Kevin Spacey is in them. I didn't put because The Usual Suspects, I just don't like it, so I didn't.
The thing is, the first time you watch it,
the
incredible.
First time you watch it, and you're like, oh my, look at his limp. He's not limping anymore.
Yeah, and so it's a great film the first time you watch it, and so
but now it's like Kevin Spacey, and then Bryan Singer, who directed it, is also like not a great bloke. So I just kind of pretend that movie doesn't exist anymore. Whereas Seven, at least you've got Pitt and Freeman and Fincher and stuff, and you can kind of just be like, don't worry about Kevin Spacey. Also, he's just playing himself in that film, so it's alright.
Films from 1995. Clueless, amazing.
Clueless in Seattle, good film.
Yes, Clueless. Shut up. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh,
Christina Ricci is in it. I've watched this film so many times. To Die For with Nicole Kidman. And Kids, incredible film. That you should not watch it as a kid, but it's amazing. Do you know Kids?
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I know it. It's got Rosario Dawson in it and stuff, right?
Terrible mind, but incredible film to watch. Mr. Holland Hoppus, really like that film, but I think my favorite film in 1995 is Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. Oh, a good pick. Yes, I like Jumanji. I should have written that down.
I forgot. Dangerous Minds. Michelle Pfeiffer in a school. Coolio. It's the most of life. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite is Jumanji.
Nice. Yeah, fair play.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of albums for 1995 here. I've got Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, the Smashing Pumpkins, which I almost put down as my pick. It's Great When You're Straight, by Black Grape. The Shaun Ryder side project, which if you haven't listened to that, listen to it. It's very good, better than Happy Mondays. The second album from Mr. Bungo, Disco Volante, one of the strangest experimental albums of all time. What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis, obviously,
amazing.
Big album. Foo Fighters by Foo Fighters, the debut.
Yes.
Dave Grohl played all the instruments, etc., etc. Impressive
What
work.
a guy.
Post by Bjork, which also was almost my pick for this year.
Yeah.
Big album. King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime by Faith No More. Very good album. But I've gone with the second album from one of my favourite bands of all time, The Bends by Radiohead.
Yeah, it's a difficult year to choose an album, isn't it?
It is, because it's a good year, man. It's strong.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you gone with? Anything I've not mentioned?
No, you've mentioned all of them. So What's the Story, Morning Glory, Post, Bjork, Melancholy, and Infinite Sadness, The Bends. But I love Bjork, so I'm going to go for Bjork.
Yeah.
Post.
And that is her. That's
album.
like her most accessible.
It's so good.
It's a very easy album to get into, isn't it? I love that album. Video game wise, this year, I'm moving to the PC for the release of one of the biggest real time strategy games of all time, Command and Conquer.
Nice.
Take your little tanks and farm your little crystals and build bigger tanks and shoot them at the bad guys. Good game. 1996 starts to feel like we're getting more in. Oh no, we're not doing 1996. Shut up, George. Right, we'll stop there. I'm excited to talk about 1996. We'll do it next time. Stop. So.
That's great.
Yeah, did you enjoy that experience?
Yes.
Yeah? Worth doing?
Definitely.
Yeah, good. It's fun, right? Well.
Yes. Do we have any homework for next week?
What, like to pick something from that big list of things? We can do that.
You haven't seen Sleepless in Seattle? Because I think all the rest you have watched.
Okay, so Sleepless in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle. I think I like that. I like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read out the films that you haven't seen, because the one I'd like to pick you probably will refuse to watch. So you can make your choice.
Which one do you want to pick?
Well, I'll read out the films you haven't seen, and you can tell me which one. So we've got. Well, I'll start in 1995. Have you seen Heat?
No.
So Heat. In the Mouth of Madness from 1994. Or The Exorcist 3 from 1990.
Oh, which one is the least scary?
Well, Heat.
Okay, let's go for Heat.
I don't know.
Heat in the Mouth of Madness?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a surprise. I'm going to check the free trailers and then let you know.
Okay, yeah. Pick one.
The Exorcist 3.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll like Heat. No, you might like Heat. You should watch Heat. But if you want to watch In the Mouth of Madness instead, you should watch that. I'd like you to watch The Exorcist 3, but I think you'll probably...
yeah, of course.
Refuse to watch that. Well... Hope you enjoyed. That was fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that. That bit where I nearly continued to talk about 1996 because I was just so excited to talk about everything. But no, that's going to come to you in 2 weeks. But next week is our regularly scheduled Culture Catch Up and MyTube, and it's a pretty good one next week to give you a little taste, cheeky little taste of the future. I can tell you that next week Alex will be discussing Chinese cinema and Korean cinema.
Oh.
And I will be discussing Plane. Film about a plane. Film about a plane. Fly the plane, crash the plane, kill the bad guy. So join us for that next week. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Love you a lot. You're the best set of listeners ever, or the best listener ever. Maybe there's only one. Possibly.
No, we know there's not only one, George. Stop saying that.
Bye, Chris. Love you so much.
Love you,
Speak
Chris.
to you again. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Chris. See you later. Bye. Bye. Bye.